Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I was looking at a local news source here today. The title of the article was "Heat Waves Add Burden to Electric Vehicle Owners." So there is challenges, it turns out, that these heavy, expensive batteries in electric vehicles have a tendency to get damaged by high temperatures. Electric vehicles are extremely complicated and they're expensive. Repairing batteries in them is nearly impossible, and replacing one is very costly. I saw a bit on there's a very expensive brand of pickup out that they were talking about how to repair it in a fender bender. Somebody hit the rear quarter panel on it, and it kind of drove the body work up into the rest of the forward part of the car. Well, it isn't just a matter of repairing that quarter panel. They had to take the vehicle almost entirely apart and made it a $42,000 repair because there's so much complexity with all the electric vehicle technology that drives all the different wheels and has such an extensive wiring system. So we're being told as Americans that we should start driving these vehicles. We should buy them, replace what we have, and drive these vehicles. And we have my home state of California basically forcing the mandate on that, followed closely behind Biden administration, wanting to do certain things they make up a year, okay, X amount by 2030, let's say 50% by 2030 and 75% by 2035, and same thing at the federal level, X amount by 2040 and 2050. They just make this stuff up with fancy round numbers. So some of the recommendations in the article about how to deal with your electric vehicles are actually the absurd part of it, is that for the EV drivers, they should don't park your car in the sun, okay? Charge during cooler times of day. Now, I got to spend the weekend here in D.C. because my plane was canceled going home the other day. So you try and figure out where the cool time of day is in D.C. And when you're going to charge your car. Use air conditioning sparingly. Sure. In places like this, or even where there's more humidity in the south and others, you're going to drive along in this car because it's electric and not use your air conditioner. One of the really good ones was that they wanted you to not charge. They wanted you to keep the charger plugged in while you're using the air conditioner. Okay, what does that even mean in the article? Keep your vehicle charging plugged in while you're using the battery charger. Does that mean, people made fun of this when they first came along, that you would have an extension cord that's 10 miles long so you can keep it charging while you're driving around? I mean, it becomes really absurd after a while. So what is the bottom line here? For certain people, electric vehicles make sense for them. If they have short commutes, if they do a lot of in-town driving, and it'll last for a particular amount of time. The article goes on to state, though, that most of the time you can come home and plug in, and then you don't need to use a fast charger unless you're on a long trip. If you're on an extended trip, then you're going to have to find a means to do that. You can't just go 200 miles and then charge it for 8 hours, but they don't want you to use a fast charger because it's tough on the battery in hot conditions. So your mobility is really what's being affected, what's being taken away here. And there's those in this place, in the regulatory scheme we have in my home state of California or here in D.C., that don't really care that you have mobility. They don't want you to have that mobility. They want you to be tied to what they believe are your walkable neighborhoods and stay in your 15-minute cities. They don't seem to like that. So this all starts with these mandates. Taking away the systems, the things that you use normally, use well, use at your choice, and forcing you into something else. So whether it's your vehicles, whether it's your gas stove, or your other appliances, your yard maintenance tools, they want to take that out and convert you to a grid that is not actually ready to accept the mass amount of charging that is going to be needed to do this again. California's grid on any hot day is close to going down. They have to start telling people to shut off their manufacturing plants and such so they can keep the grid going. They're tearing down hydroelectric dams in my district right now because they aren't green enough, even though it makes CO2-free power. It's absurd what's going on with the regulatory state, and we need to stop the Biden administration by doing it just by executive action. It needs to run through us so we're held accountable to you. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes the gentleman.